Now, why did the U.S. pursue liberal hegemony? First of all, as I said to you folks before, the United States is a profoundly liberal country. It's what makes the United States a wonderful place. You should understand here that I am not arguing that liberalism is a bad thing, period, end of story. I actually think that liberal democracy is the best political system you can possibly have. And I thank my lucky stars that I was born in the United States of America, a liberal democracy, and raised in a liberal democracy. I would want it no other way. My argument is that liberal democracy is the best of all possible political systems that you can have. But as a foreign policy, liberalism is bankrupt. Right? So you understand the argument I'm making here. But this is a fundamentally liberal country. And realists like me, John Schuessler, Jason Castillo, they can tell you this. Realists like me and them have a tough time in America because liberals don't like realists. Right? That's why so many people don't like me. Right? Because I'm a realist on foreign policy grounds, right? Right? So this is a profoundly liberal country. And just to go back to that slide, when you start trying to sell these kinds of arguments in the early 1990s, it's very easy to do. Americans just gravitate to these arguments because it is a liberal country. Second, American nationalism supplied an unhealthy dose of hubris to the equation. This is a very important part of the story. John told you that nationalism is the most powerful political ideology on the planet. What I'm telling you also, I didn't say this before, I'm going to tell you now, the United States is a very nationalistic country. If you go to the library here, University of Chicago, Harvard, you name it, right? There are whole wings of the library that are filled with books about American liberalism. There is probably one shelf worth of books on American nationalism because we never talk about ourselves as a nationalistic country. We are very nationalistic. Let me just say a few words about this. Madeleine Albright, canonical liberal, right, loves liberal hegemony, is famous for saying this: America is the indispensable nation. We stand taller and we see further. This is pure, unadulterated nationalism. America as opposed to the other, right? That America is the indispensable, there's the word nation. Nation as in nationalism. We are the indispensable nation. We stand taller and we see further. Right? We are superior. You all know we're the city on the hill, right? We have the right, we have the responsibility, and we have the capability to transform countries all around the world into liberal democracies. Right? This is nationalism. So what I'm saying to you here, let me just give you another example. American exceptionalism. You surely all believe in American exceptionalism. And if any of you plan to run for political office in the United States, you better say you believe in American exceptionalism. Andrew Cuomo just got himself in trouble for denying that. And Barack Obama flirted with that argument. And he quickly backed off. Well, if you believe in American exceptionalism, you believe in American nationalism. Because exceptionalism is what nationalism is all about. Right? So what you have here is a country that is fueled by both nationalism and liberalism, right? So it is hardly surprising that this country is going to go on a rampage and try to remake the world. And then finally, and this is a very important part of my argument, I believe you can only pursue liberal hegemony in unipolarity. The reason is, if you're in bipolarity or multipolarity, you have other great powers to deal with. And you have to act according to the dictates of realism. Right? Bipolarity means two great powers, multipolarity, three or more. Unipolarity, there's only one great power. Well, if there's only one great power, you don't have to worry about great power politics. This is where the United States was at the end of the Cold War. We were Godzilla. We were incredibly powerful relative to everybody else in the system. Tremendous amounts of power. Charles Krauthammer called this the unipolar moment. So here we are, we're incredibly powerful, and we think that liberal democracy is the wave of the future. We think we have the wind at our back. And we think the idea of spreading liberal democracy, given how powerful we are, is going to be easy. And we don't have to worry about balance of power politics. 1991, the Soviet Union disappears. It was a weakling even before it disappeared. China hasn't risen yet. There's nobody else out there. We don't have to worry about the balance of power, so we are free to pursue liberal hegemony. If you're in a bipolar system or a multipolar system, I'm getting way ahead of myself now. Think rise of China, think resurrection of Russian power. Not much room for liberal hegemony. You're talking about balance of power politics. Pivot to Asia, ... You know the story. But here, if you have unipolarity and the sole pole, that's Uncle Sugar, the sole pole is profoundly liberal, right, and profoundly nationalistic, you're off to the races. And that's what happened starting in the early 1990s.